In this free training, I'm going to reveal to you the checklist required for you to start your very own 5 to 6 figure landscape photography business. And using this checklist and this template, you're going to be able to start for under $100. Now, let me know if this is you. You love landscape photography so much that it consumes every part of you. You may even have trouble sleeping at night because you're thinking about it over and over. Maybe you even resent your job when it's nice outside because you just want to be out taking photos. You want to make landscape photography your full-time job, but you just don't really know the steps necessary to make that happen, or even how to find people who are going to be your buyers for your landscape photography. Now it's hard to find videos on YouTube that tell you how to make your own landscape photography business, let alone doing it in 30 days, but that desire is still there for you. Now, if that sounds familiar, it's because, like you, I had those very same dreams. I was just some no-name kid from Tennessee who got some random college degree and didn't really like my job, but I had the dream of starting my own landscape photography business. First, I'm going to share 7 massive myths surrounding starting your own landscape photography business. These myths are the ones that I see all the time and that hold people back when they are starting fresh, starting their own business. Myth number 1 is that you're not good or you don't understand business. Anyone can start a business. It's actually a lot simpler than you would think. Remember, I was just some random kid from Tennessee who chose some degree and was at a dead-end job. I even flunked out of my business minor in college. I remember sitting in the very dimly lit room of my professor who signed my withdrawal notes because he said that I would never be good at business. From that moment on, I really worked to discover things that they weren't even teaching in college that apply to today's world, not some book world, and these things actually work. So if some random kid who chose a random degree and was at a dead-end job, flunked out of business school, can start their own successful business, you can too. Myth number 2 is that you just don't have time right now to start your business. You know, remember that dead-end job I told you about? When I was starting my own business, I found ways to take photos to and from my way home from work. So when my conditions would be right, I would know where to go and how to get there. And I wouldn't waste any extra time getting home with work obligations, family obligations, other extracurriculars that I was doing too. And I was able to sell those exact same photos as prints for $900 each when I would print them again and again. It's actually not as time consuming as you would first think, and you can do it with a job and a family. Myth number 3 is I won't be able to find any clients or people that want to buy my photography products or my photos. Even with a tiny following, you can start a successful 5 to 6 figure landscape photography business. I have just a handful of followers, and my wife is the only one who really comments on a lot of my photos, and I was able to do it just by doing that. This all clicked for me when I was teaching a workshop in person in Grand Teton National Park. I was standing there with just a small group of clients and thought, there's gotta be a way to reach more people than just these few. When I got home from that trip, I started doing some research on Facebook about how many people use the term landscape photography in their post and in their interests, and it turned out that number was over 22 million people. That's a massively untapped market that a lot of landscape photographers are completely missing out on because they're not leveraging the ability to reach those people on social media. And last I checked, a small workshop group of 10 people or so is much less than 22 million. Myth number 4 is that email is dead. This is completely false. Email is actually the biggest direct line of communication between you and your raving fans. One of the biggest mistakes landscape photographers make is not starting an email list right off the bat that gives somebody value in return from signing up for their email list. Or number 2, they only send quarterly emails that basically just ask their community for money or to do business with them. Think about it this way. If you were going out to hang out with a friend over and over, and all that friend did was just ask you for something in return every single time you went to hang out, Would you call them again, or would you want to hang out with them? Probably not. So in email lists, you really have to diversify how you're sending out information and value to your audience. And again, that's your most effective line of communication with your biggest fans who are actually going to invest in your company. Myth number 5 is that you're going to have to spend thousands of dollars and fill out all this paperwork to start your own business. That's not true at all. Now, I'm not an accountant or CPA or a lawyer or anything like that, but you can absolutely legally start your photography business using your identification that you have at this moment, not buying anything extra. I think the best part is with the tools that we have right now, you can even file your own taxes. You don't have to be that nerd that's sitting in the back of your math class to figure all of this stuff out. Starting a business right now, especially in landscape photography, is easier than it's ever been before, but more people are starting to figure this out. You don't need tons of forms or CPAs when you're getting started. Those fees and services may be important down the road, but when you're just starting out, they're completely unnecessary. What you need to focus on instead is maximizing your reach, scaling your business, and investing back in your business for more income streams. Once you're able to get those things down, then you can think about bringing more of those legal services in when you're getting ready to roll further down that 30-day window. Myth number 6 is that sales are sleazy. Look, you don't have to be one of those blood-sucking used car salesmen that wants your money in return for something that doesn't have any real value to it. Sales are just how you help somebody solve a problem that they have. You also might be thinking that you're just not an expert in the field and you don't know anything that anybody else already knows. 99% of the time, you are further along down the line than somebody else. That may be just one step ahead of another person, but creating something like a product, a download, an ebook, or a course is really going to help that person who's one step behind you, and you can absolutely monetize that extremely quickly, scale it, and start making 5 to 6 figures really fast. You make money and you also help them with something that they wanted to learn and improve their quality of life as well. When you think about it that way, sales are kind of fun and they're a win-win. Myth number 7 is that there's a ceiling of income when it comes to landscape photography, and that's not true at all. Actually, with today's technology, there's literally no limit on how much you can earn as a landscape photographer. You might even be able to make over that 5 to 6 figure window in the 30-day period or beyond using the right tactics to maximize the reach potential that technology and social media has. Remember here, 5 figures is the minimum. You might even break beyond that 6-figure mark and get into the 7 figures when you do this right. Remember that number of 22 million people on Facebook who are interested in landscape photography? That's just the minimum amount of people who use those terms. And now think about the amount of other people on other social media platforms like Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. There's so many people out there who want information and want landscape photography products. You just have to use the right tools to reach them, and the potential is unimaginable. Let's just take Facebook, for example. What would it look like if you reached every single one of those people with just a $5 product? The return on that would be absolutely massive. So now we've gone through the 7 myths surrounding starting your own landscape photography business that is capable of earning 5 to 6 figures. And you've absolutely seen that it's possible for you, for me, for anybody to start their own landscape photography business.